Good morning, FYE people. This is a short video designed to get you up to speed on Microsoft Excel in preparation for your CSCO 50 exam. Most of this material is also in the study guide that is posted in Canvas, but some of you may prefer it in a video format so that you can see it. A couple of just basic informational points. In Excel you have a ribbon, just like you did in PowerPoint and in Microsoft Word. Some basic principles for how Excel works. Excel is a grid of what are called cells. You can see each one of these little blocks is its own cell. It allows you to create tables. It is arranged in columns that go down the page. These are labeled by letters, and you'll see if we go across that they go A through Z, and then they start over, A, B, etc. Going the other direction, you have rows, and these are named by numbers, 1 through probably an almost infinite number as we go down the page. And what that allows you to do is to give each cell a name. The name of any given cell is the column letter followed by the row number. So the name of this cell is H3. In addition, in any workbook, you can have multiple sheets. So you can see I'm going to just write something here so that we can distinguish it. If I come down here and click on sheet 2, that takes me to a different worksheet and so forth. In a cell, you can enter data. Often those are going to be words or text. And if you do that, once you enter it, then you can come back and you can format it in the same way that we do Microsoft Word: bold, italics, underline, make it red, however you wish. One thing that you do need to be aware of, though, you can see these cells are fairly small, and often we're going to have text that spills over from one cell into another. So if I write "this is a long sentence," you can see that it covers more than one cell. And now if I were to type something here, you can see I can't read this anymore. So you have two options with that, or three options rather. One is to select the cell and then come up here and click Merge and Center. And you can see that that merges the cells together and centers the text in it. Another option is to select the cell and then select Wrap Text. What that does, you can see, it just, when you get to the edge of the column, it just starts a new line in it. Your third option is to change the column width, and I'll do this one in a separate one. Really, there are two separate ways you can do this, or two ways of thinking about this. One is to grab right between those and just drag it until it fits right. That's one way of making it fit. The other is to double click right there, and then it automatically expands the column to fit the longest thing that is in there. These all look kind of boring, so if we wanted to change the way that these appear, an easy way to do this is to use the Cell Styles drop-down menu here. And you can see we can make that cell now look like any of those. Select another one. You can see how that works. Another thing that you can enter into a Microsoft Excel sheet are numbers. Once we've entered numbers, then if you look up here, there is a number part of your home ribbon, and you can start doing different things with that number. If we wanted to make this dollars instead of just a regular number, we could select the dollars there. You can make it a percent, you can change the decimal points. If you drop down from general, there are lots of different things you can do with it. We could make it a date, we could make it time, all of those things are there. The really useful thing about Microsoft Excel are formulas and functions, and these get super complex. So it's not as though you need to know every single one of these. You need really to know the basic concepts here. essentially, Excel lets you do things with numbers. So I'm going to come over here where I've created a little table. This is going to be just a made-up family budget for a month, and we're going to work with these numbers. The way in which Microsoft Excel's built-in function works, watch how I'm typing this. That's the basic way in which all of these built-in functions work. So let's unpack that just a little bit. Keyword there is the name of an action that you want Excel to take. So that could be like average. That's going to tell it to average whatever numbers are put in there. Sum will tell it to sum everything up, to add everything together. And then argument tells Excel which cells we want to do this with. That probably sounds a little confusing, so let's figure something out and put this into practice. Let's say that in our budget, I want to know what is the average amount that this family spends on food every month. Excel has a nice built-in function for that. It's called average. So I'm going to put equal and then average. And then I want it to figure out the average of B3 all the way through F3. So I put in B3 colon F3. And it tells me then that the average amount that this family spent on food every month is $477. Let's say I wanted to know the total amount that this family spent on food. Not the average, but over a 5-month period, how many dollars? That's where we use the sum function. So I'm going to type in equals sum, and then the same thing, B3 to F3. And we find out that this family spent $2,385 on food. Now, we've been working just across. Those ranges of cells can also go down. So if I wanted to find out how much we spent in January, I would do equal sum B3 to B8. And they can also go diagonally. So you'll start with the upper left corner, and it can go down to the lower right corner. So if I wanted to find out the total amount of money that this family spent, I can do equals sum B3, so that's my upper left corner, F to F8, which is my lower right corner, and find out that over that 5-month period, the family spent $9,910. So that's how you use the sum and the average. There are 3 others that you need to know in preparation for the CSCO 5.0 exam, at least according to your study guide. I'm not making you any promises because I don't build the test. You need to know the count. And I'm not even sure what that does, so let's try it. So what count does is it looks at the entire range of cells that you enter, and then it says how many of those cells have numbers in them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you noticed, I actually put 8 cells in the range. January is not a number, and the blank one is not a number. That's what the count does. Maximum gives you the largest number in a group. So if I do max B3 to B8, it returns 700 because that's the largest number. And similarly, minimum gives us 75 because that's the smallest. You can also build your own formulas. Let's say that I just want to know, the total amount that the family spent on food in February plus the amount that they spent on entertainment. I could do some, but I can also just do plus to indicate that it's a positive number, 650 plus 50. That returns 700. I can also use cell numbers. So plus B, C3 plus C6. We'll add C3 and C6. The other things that you need to know: plus does addition, minus does subtraction, asterisk does multiplication, a forward slash does division. I don't know why it's not wanting to let me do that. The little caret thingy, and I can't even find it on my keyboard, to be quite honest with you. There it is. Raises a number to a power, and then of course the percent makes it a percent. And you'll want to remember what you learned in math class. Standard order of operations. When you're writing a formula, it does parentheses first. Then within that, it does exponents, then multiplication and division, moving left to right, then addition and subtraction, moving left to right. That's all fairly standard, what you should know from math from high school. Excel also lets you create charts. And this can be kind of a nice visual feature in projects that you're working on. Let me clear the contents out of this stuff so that we can better see it. I'm just going to delete this column. To create a chart, what you're going to do is select the data that you want to use in your chart. So I'm going to select all of this. Then you're going to go to the chart part right here on Insert. You've got charts here. We can insert a column graph. And you can see that then creates this nice visual that shows us each month how much they're spending on things. And I'll let you play around with that, but there are all kinds of different ways that you can create a chart that shows nice stuff, and you need to know how to do that. Finally, printing is important to know. Page layout will give you quite a bit about the printing. If you select this right here, for instance, and go to print area, you can set this as the print area. And then when we go to print, it will show you that it's just going to print what I have set as the print area. That can be very useful for you because sometimes these things don't all nicely print on a single page. So that's kind of your introduction to Microsoft Excel. I do encourage you also to take a look at the study guide that is on there. There's additional information in it. And I'll be real honest with you, Excel is a harder one for me to teach than PowerPoint or Microsoft Word. So I want to make sure that you get the information that you need in order to do well in the test. Good luck with it.